Okay, it's up.
So this is like where I'm at. Honestly, like I feel like I have a pretty good like understanding of the matchup. I just have trouble disciplining myself not to int in tournament.
Uh-huh.
It's just like such a common conundrum with like I feel like I even see like it does like even up into the top 10.
Yeah, I mean that's like the whole thing with the matchup. Peaches, the only way she generally gets to actually interact with Fox are the spots. Now, this isn't generally true, but a lot of the spots where Peaches currently interact with Fox are spots where the Foxes are playing them poorly, and since Peach is a character that doesn't have as many options as Fox, it definitely makes sense that
Well, it's like everything. It's like really frustrating because like most of it, there's like one real unreactable option, and that's strong hit dash attack, right?
yeah, yeah,
But it's like frustrating because like down smash is fake, but somehow like we're all human and we're. I mean, if you're not, I mean, I don't know. Even like the tippy top foxes don't seem like they have a modern game plan for Peach
mm-hmm.
because it hasn't been super applicable. Like what makes me say that is like watching Leffen versus Polish, where like Polish just like caught like called out Leffen's DI with like fucking up throw, and then he did like dash forward up smash and killed him with a tipper up smash, and I was like, that shouldn't work. Obviously,
Yeah.
something here is outdated, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
So
I
I
think I
want,
agree.
yeah. I think that like the neutral game, it's like I mean, on paper, it's like, oh yeah, you can go under her or go over her, threaten her up her like for her float heights with up air, but it's like I feel like in practice when I fight like the only real frustration is when I fight the tippy top peaches or a decent peach in bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Like a tippy top peach in friendlies is like, oh well, I have now I'm just like this is a game of testing what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Um, and then like in tournament it's a test of like don't int, and it's just like two fucking incredibly hard asks. But that's honestly probably just like me needing to like have more discipline as a player in general.
Mhm. Um, so I kind of have the thought that I think that in tournament it does kind of end up being like the don't int thing, but that is also kind of tournament melee in general, right? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you're both human and you're both probably gonna mess up, and it's your job to try and mess up the least. But there are things things that you could do that lower your chances of messing up or make it where your game plan is solid enough to where even if maybe you int a little bit, you'll still be ahead of your opponent or something like that. And so I think it like chalking it up to just like not inting, I think is a bit reductive and doesn't actually like
Right, sure.
hit the
No,
main issue a lot of
that
the
was
time.
when I was getting at that as like a very like okay, well I'm describing to you my like a very generalized description of like my problem,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is like of course that's everyone's problem. It's like tournament melee is like this thing where you're taking everything you can get and simplifying it down as like easy to execute high value as possible, unless you're Moki. But even Moki kind of reduces it to just like really grab heavy punish game, which is like great, right? I mean, grab's broken.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to develop. I've finally hit a wall as a player where if I want to like really break into the next level, I need to internalize and develop discipline and like a more like I'm starting to like some of my plans are starting to become more concrete. I'm feeling more comfortable hitting, for example, my fox punishes. I feel very much more powerful, except when I'm fighting a fox that is like a few levels ahead of me, and both their defense and offense and speed are stronger than me, and then it's
Mm-hmm.
like a struggle,
Yeah, yeah.
mostly in the Ditto. Like I was playing Moki for a little while, and it was very apparent that once the skill disparity, there's a certain skill disparity where it's like, well, why would you even bother playing this person?
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think I should stop rambling and let you do your thing. You know what I mean? I like talking to you about theory a lot because you always offer some very simple but like things that are easy to remember in the moment of tournament.
Hmm.
which is like
Yeah.
something that I myself can never. I mean, tournament is the way I'm thinking about it is that I have trouble like applying things because I need to master them more. Like you said,
Yeah.
I need to completely understand them,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
was very apparent to me when I had a like half-assed plan for a matchup that I didn't think I would play, and then played twice in bracket at 10
Yeah, and then you got hit with it, and
a.m.
it's like, well, wait, maybe I don't actually, have the plan
Exactly.
that works. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess to start off, I mean, we have this here, but before even going into it, I kind of want to talk about my thoughts on the Peach matchup, and then like, lay out what I would maybe define as my general game plan. Maybe not the most accurate definition, but things that are core to the matchup that Fox has to deal with, and we'll see how you feel about them, if you thought about them, if you agree, disagree, and we could,
Oh,
talk
I'm
over
sure
it.
I'm sure whatever you have to say about the matchup is what basically my understanding of the matchup is an hour-long fiction lesson where he
Hmm.
talks about how most of Peach's stuff is fake if you just put yourself in the right place.
Yeah.
But good peaches are gonna work as hard as possible to make you as uncomfortable as possible to not put yourself in the right place. And then once you're in the right place, it's about like sort of like playing this over under mix up against Peach and forcing her to reset into that like that position where you're in an advantage.
Yeah.
The other thing that Ara was talking to me about is like, okay, well, if you think the Peach is better than you and you've confidently felt out their skill level, the default game plan is to camp them. Like you should be camping them because like you're gonna lose the scrambles. And then he said, if you think you're as good or better than the Peach, you can do the Panda game plan, where you just run at them with your perfect tech skill. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
That's what
Yeah, those are
that's.
definitely things you could
But
do.
those are just like that's a very basic like here's like the philosophy of your intention in the matchup. But I would love to hear. I want the micro. I want to know how to abuse and make Peach players hate me.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I understand. Okay, well, the Shep things, I mean, I generally tend to agree with Fiction, and I think he has a good point where, to give kind of more insight on those spots, what makes, Fox able to, outplay Peach in a lot of spots, slash what makes him better, is his mobility, right? We know that Peach is a character that's
Right.
slow, sucks at moving around generally, and then Fox is fast and able to really take control of the game through moving into certain spots,
It's like
and
the
Fox can't
opposite
stop
of
him.
Fox Falcon. Where
Yeah.
Fox Falcon is the only matchup in the game where Fox is the slow character, quote unquote. You know what
Yeah,
I
the
mean?
slow work. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Uh,
this is the extreme polar opposite where Fox is the absolute.
yeah,
you
he's the
know.
fast one, and they have to stop him, intercept him, chase him, do all the things. So given that, the given that we understand that Fox, his main strength is mobility, but then we look at his weaknesses, and it's like the same weaknesses that Fox generally tends to have. His range is pretty poor. The options that he generally uses to interact with characters has real defensive counterplay. He's specifically a character with a good shield and good shield relative, maybe for defending against Fox's actions specifically, and then like good crouch canceling, or maybe like and then good big hitboxes to actually outrange him. So it makes it where like, okay, well, Fox, we can establish that Fox isn't maybe the best at directly interacting with Peach, but given that he can outmaneuver her and Peach has to commit to things because she's slow, then you can indirectly outplay her in a lot of these spots, right? And I
Like
think
play,
you already alluded to that, right? With
yeah,
you
the
know,
like the zoning game plan. Like you know what? When I was newer at the game, I was a lot more comfortable playing the zoning game plan, but that's because I was so much less aware of threat zones.
yeah,
And
yeah,
now that I actually have played the game for a long period of time, I understand why players have such a hard time committing, except against Puff. Against Puff, you just have to do it. But maybe I just need to have that mindset. Except Peach Puff can only kill you off of a grab, basically. And if she doesn't kill you off a grab, it means you did a poor defensive counterplay,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I
But
agree with that.
Peach has like multiple layers of mix-ups to the defensive counterplay. Whereas against Puff, most of your defensive counterplay options are in the down in like the bottom half of your controller's gray stick coordinates, right? He sees running shine, SDI away, etc. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can run like I master. I feel like I'm really strong against Puff because I can just do running shine on her shield, and she basically can't do it because of full hop. I
Yeah.
don't have that privilege against Peach. At least I don't understand it well enough to abuse it well. But I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. I generally feel like against Peach, if you are next to the Peach in lag, that means there's a failure of your game plan, generally.
Yeah, I
Because,
agree.
Peach being slow has to chase her on Fox, and it's like, if you're sitting there in lag next to her, that means you either did something, you misinterpreted the situation, you judged poorly, you did a wrong action, quote unquote wrong, or the Peach severely outplayed you, right? Because she shouldn't
Oh,
theoretically be able to catch you, right?
right. The Peach basically has to call you out in neutral.
Yeah. And so given that you
Or
end up in that spot, it means that there was something that went wrong. And so I think it's kind of different from Puff in the sense that Fox can directly interact with Puff, and Puff on the ground is really, really weak because she can't dash dance and doesn't have great ground moves. And so it's like that's the big difference between these characters is Puff has a clear weakness on the ground, whereas Peach's weakness is more in that she cannot, because Puff can do a good job intercepting you because she has the big bear and vertical, like when she's in the air she has good horizontal drift and stuff like
talk
that. She
to
can
me more
actually
about
control
that.
squads.
What Peach's weaknesses? Because I understand. I think like you were alluding like, also to like the Puff weaknesses, but I want to internalize the Peach weakness so that I know like, oh, I'm in a mix up. Because like remember last lesson you were like you don't actually you're not still aware enough as to when you're in a mix up or not. But
Hmm.
like that's way more applicable to a fast character in a Ditto like the Fox Ditto where like everything is so like hyperbolized because
Yeah.
of the you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is very like there's two things that you can get hit by. And that's why it feels so bad when you get hit by them. You
Hmm.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, so you
um
were what were you alluding to as Peach's weaknesses is that as long as she's not in front of him or like as long as you're literally not in the zone where she's trying to like bait you into whiff punishing her, which is also fake, like you're not losing, right?
yeah, I think there are bad spots that happen kind of outside that, but they are still, you could play outside of them and work with it. But like if we're going to talk about Peach's weaknesses, so we've already established her speed. Another thing is Peach isn't that great at actually being aggressive, right? I mean, she's slow.
Right.
She has her best move that hits far in front of her is fair, which is
Right.
slow. I think it's frame 14 or something, maybe 16. It's some reactable number. It's slow, and then given that she can't, necessarily use it that proactively because for her to use it, she has to read something 16 frames in advance. Whereas running shine, you use 1 frame, right, or whatever.
Right.
Another big weakness of Peach is that because of her, this branches off because of her speed, but because she is the speed she is, she cannot make situations happen. She can only respond. And so, given both, because she can only respond, and on top of that, since she can only respond, she also has to be relatively preemptive in playing these spots out because slow jump squat, bad dash. When she's in, she's in. She can't really decide, I'm going to get out. She has to, like, play the spots out with some, intention, right? Whereas Fox, Fox, you end up in a bad spot. You jump up the top platform, and it's like, haha, who cares, right?
It's the same problem she has in teams where she has to like pre-position herself to get
Yeah.
anything efficient.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. All right. That makes a lot of think that's something I'm like I never even thought about. Like to me, fair is just scary.
Yeah, but
But
it's
it's
like
like
fair
I feel
can't
like
doesn't actually
slow.
hit you, right? It
Yeah.
just can't unless you like
You have
do
to
something
run
wrong.
into it.
Yeah. Unless you put
She
yourself in lag in front of her or don't account
wow.
for fair lag or not lag, but like startup time, it is actually difficult to get like the point of Peach's fair isn't even actually to hit you. It's a zoning tool. She's
I
not like I'm
never
gonna
thought
hit you
about
with
it
it,
that way.
right?
For me, because it's like I'm thinking it's Ganondorf. He's trying to he's trying to
Yeah.
wall, but she is trying to wall you out. But like literally, I have to throw myself in front of her for it to do anything. That's something I never thought about. Okay, holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. A
But
big part
it's
of
a lot.
fair.
It's a lot more scary. So that means like you can't, and that's why the like big full hops at her are bad, right? Because she's like, oh, I'm gonna react to you full hopping forward instead of full hopping in place or away, right? And then you're gonna get fair because you're giving me plenty of time to set up for FC fair or float fair or whatever, right?
I think the full
Is that
hops end up being bad for a different reason because it ends up what generally happens is if the peach already isn't floating in the air and you're too far and you like drift really far towards her, it ends up being the thing where you put yourself in lag next to the peach, right? That's what it ends up being when
right?
you do the full hop, more so than like it lets her set up to fair or something because fair is 15 frames, right? That is
Okay.
like or 14, 15, 16, one of those numbers of frames. And that is like essentially how long it takes you to get to the peak of your full hop, right? So it's like she can't do a fair on reaction to you doing the full hop generally. That's not like reasonable. But
So
the
putting yourself in lag in front of Peach is along the same thing as like setting yourself up to not DI rest or get shield grabbed by. It's just like that's your ultimate lose condition. And I need like when I fight Puff, I know all of my lose. I don't. Maybe my theory is that I didn't really know that I wasn't really ultimately respecting the lose condition of put yourself in lag in front of Peach.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's why is that why the like wave dash in up tilt the like drill behind Peach's shield into I forget what there's counter you can use drill behind her shield. I forget Fat Goku does it a lot, but I haven't actually labbed it. But like so that's why those like frame 4 up tilts are so good, right?
I
Like
think I actually have specific thoughts on up tilt. I actually don't think it's that great against Peach because it's really inconsistent and it's like if we're trying to create a game plan that's reasonably applicable, and doesn't have clear flaws, doing things that puts yourself in the exact spot to lose to Peach ends up being pretty poor value when you like lay it out because it's like how many spots is Peach actually going to be able to hit Fox, and it's like well this one's one of them. If you're gonna like actively put yourself into that spot just to play it out, seems like pretty poor risk reward unless you're directly killing her off of it, right?
So the main, so yeah, again, I guess I got sidetracked, but my main point is that the big rule is do not put yourself in lag in front of Peach.
Yeah, that's like pretty much the core ideal between one of the big lose cons, right?
What are the other lose cons are like? Okay, here, let's go. How about I feel like yeah, I still want to hear what are your core game, so the core game plan stuff. Because you've given me a bunch of very good notes about like, okay, well, if you ever forget what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses, this is what you should look at first. And then once you understand those, the game plan will kind of come naturally as you sort of honor the main lose cons, right?
Yeah.
But I want to hear, I guess, moreover, I want to hear what are your like yeah, let's get into the actual like core matchup game plan stuff, I guess.
Yeah, and so we've talked about the character's weaknesses and whatever, but now the level after that is like the actual things that the characters will be doing, right? And so it's like a lot of Peach's like decision making revolves around the fact that she can float, right? And we all know that float, when she does float cancel aerials, they have 4 frames of landing lag, right?
Yeah,
And
you got to respect that. You can't whiff punish it.
yeah,
I know that's something that you're a very big advocate for.
yeah,
And I was
big thing we
looking at your
can't.
save states when
Mhm.
I was practicing the Peach like float height save states. I was trying to punish the landing lag, and then I was like, wait, if I don't do this, I can still punish it,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah. So
crazy.
a big thing with the save states that I made that I want to talk about is that the one save state of those where it's the Peach doing the float fair, bear, ground float nair, whatever, is that fair is the one exception to where you can whiff punish it if you have like some level of read that they're gonna do it at a certain timing. Because with setup, you can consistently whiff punish fair. Like if you read that they're gonna, because a big thing that a lot of Peaches, a good example that I like of this is that at match start, a lot of Peaches do like dash, float, FC
Right.
fair in the center stage, right? And so
Dash.
they just like run off the platform and then FC float in the center stage, right? And so with
Right.
that, if since you know that they're gonna do it, you can set up for it and then obviously just like grab it, right? On reaction to them fair. You don't have to make like it's like reconfirming, right? It's like
Right.
you think they're gonna
Yeah.
do the fair and then you check and it's like, oh yeah, they're actually doing the fair, and since it's a 14 frame move,
It's
generally if
unsafe
you're
on
set up,
shield.
yeah. Sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes.
But you have
That's
to
not
read
that
a
relevant in
specific
this, right?
time.
Because we're not shielding it. We're gonna dash dance
Right.
whiff punish it, right?
Oh, right. I keep forgetting. I need to replace shield with dash dance under the principle that I respect a threat range, right?
Yeah. And so the situation that I'm laying out is like she's doing essentially an FC fair on the center stage at the timing that you think she will do it. And since you think she'll do it, you could set your dash dance up in a way to where you're dashing forward as she's landing from the fair, and then you could actually like see that she does the fair since it's 14 frames before the hitbox comes out, and then like grab whiff punish it. Like that's a thing that you can do if you're set up. Now, if you're just dash dancing, it's obviously too fast for you to just like during your dash dance decide, oh, I see fair, I'm gonna grab it. Right? That's not reasonable.
Right. You have to be set up, and you have to you're pre-positioning for this very one specific punishable situation, and then acknowledging that you can't actually punish the other FC aerials, right?
Yeah. But this is kind of a tangent since you
sorry.
mostly brought up the save states that I wanted to like mention. But this kind of goes into another thing where it's like Sage Peach has to rely on floats, and that generally her float cancel aerials are not whiff punishable on reaction. That means that when she's floating, you can avoid her, right? Or you could do something generally safe that covers a like kind of how do I word this? Maybe a more committal option on her end that still leaves you being relatively safe. And so a thing that is a good examples of those are full hopping over her when she's floating lower to the ground and running under her when she's floating higher to the ground or higher from the ground, right? And those things are generally pretty safe if you do them at the correct timings and give you a lot of availability if something doesn't go right.
Talking about that when I was playing him, he was like, "Yeah, the one thing you're not doing in neutral is trying to go over or under." And that's like a read based on what float height you think they're gonna do, right?
It is kind of a read. So the way it works is generally if you are being attentive and looking at the pitch while playing in neutral, you can see her jump, right? And be like, okay, I'm aware that she's going to jump now. And then what you can do is you can see her float and then check within that first few moments of like whether if you're close enough to actually run under her before fair comes out or not, right? That's like the big thing. If by the time that you realize that she is up floating whatever height, if you're close enough to run under before fair would actually hit you, then you can run under. Full hopping
Run
over is kind of
under.
different because you can obviously double jump out and be safer, but it's similar in functionality.
Okay, for sure. So you can also do something generally safe that forces her to do something committal while you are still safe. If you are attentive and neutral, you can set a reaction point for her to jump, see her float, and then check if you are close enough to run under or fair. If you are close enough to under before fair will hit, you can run under.
Yeah.
Otherwise full hop over is a great option to reset.
You can also just keep dash dancing in place, right?
Yeah.
That's another way. Like you can just stand still or jump to
Otherwise,
side platform.
that's the cactuar.
Yeah.
Can stand still, jump to platform, or jump over. But these are all implicitly on the basis that you're paying attention. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Which is obviously something that like paying attention, like it's kind of supposed to be a given, but it's not always.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's hard to always be paying attention, right? Sometimes you miss information, etc. But these are like the main points of value. These are
Properly
the things that you need to
reacting.
always be paying attention to. The biggest things to pay attention to. I guess you should always be paying attention to everything, but these are the most
Okay.
important things to hit.
Great, got it.
And so we have that understanding of Peach's float and how we might interact with it is given that information. Another thing for Fox is his platform usage, right? Since Peach is not that fast horizontally or vertically, a lot of the time you could use platforms to change the plane and then use that to horizontally reposition faster than Peach can actually catch you. That's a big part of the matchup that Peach is complaining about a lot. The Fox is that circle camp, right?
Yeah, no, I did. That's my game plan right now.
Yeah, so
It's
you
like
use the core ideal behind platforms is you just use them to change the plane with Peach so that you can effectively avoid her. Right?
So it's like a change of it's like a pace change. It's like, oh, I want to slow down. We're not playing for a second, kind of thing. And
yeah, essentially, yeah. And you could go to a better spot or wait until a better spot happens, right? You now have more control over, maybe the next situation that happens a little bit since you can.
Can you explain like how waiting for a better? Because like I kind of see what you're saying, but like at the end of the day, once you go to the top platform and Peach is in the center, that's true neutral, right? Or is it like,
No, I don't think
is
it's
it?
neutral.
You think, or when you're above Peach, are you in disadvantage
I
because
don't
of?
think it's so. I don't think that position specifically is that easy to define with like advantage and disadvantage because it's like in a sense you could say it's disadvantage quote unquote because you are like you have objectively you have less options to play with, but I don't think it's actually a bad spot to be in, right? I don't think it's a
Right.
losing spot or anything like that, and so I don't
But
think
it's
defining it as like advantageous or disadvantageous is necessarily that valuable in that spot specifically. It
okay.
just means
So
that you have to play it differently, right?
it's just like in like a traditional fighting game when someone says, "Okay, I'm gonna timer now that," and I'm just gonna run away. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like akin to that where it's like I want to slow it down for a second? Maybe you can use it as like a mental tool, like, oh, this person, like if you see that the peach is impatient, which good peaches aren't impatient, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
if like the top level peaches all understand that they aren't the ones that they all understand the rules of the matchup that you have described to me, and that's
Yeah.
something. Yeah. Anyways, so let's keep going. We've got platform usage. Use this to wait for a better spot. Uh, what else? What else? So we've got go
Um.
under her, go over her, go to the platforms.
Yeah. Peach's main grounded threat is dash attack. We know that, and so then it's like, given that it's dash attack, how are we going to deal with this? We could either play at the edge of that range if you want to be risky, or we could completely choose not to engage with it, which is also very reasonable because Peach can't stop you from doing that, right? Because of her speed. I think trying to interact a lot with dash tag ends up being pretty risky slash inconsistent because if she jumps in those spots and you're like trying really hard to play around dash tag, you might end up in an awkward position around her jump. Playing at the end of the day, playing far away from Peach, playing slow, taking your time, generally tends to just be the easiest strategy because all of Peach's threats kind of get nullified if you're good at being evasive. Um, and then
So you can play around the threat range, which can work, but it's also risky because if you just be evasive, you're threatening the same game plan without ever giving them a chance to interact.
yeah, and now there is a trade-off: is that if you try and play actively around, Peach's ground threats like dash attack, then or maybe even down smash or something like that, then you can get the highest possible value, right? But obviously, risk reward is a thing that exists, and I think it's reasonable to say that generally you should, maybe not try super hard to do that because if something goes wrong, you take 60 and it's like, oh wow, I just lost, half my stock.
So in other words, if you're playing close, you're playing high risk, high reward, but a potentially faster game. Whereas if you're playing like you're commit, but whereas if you're running away, you're committing to the slow but consistent game plan. As long as you understand. I mean, it's like yeah, I guess that's not. I kind of see what you're saying.
Yeah, that is like the dichotomy essentially is that
Okay.
running away is safer, right? Generally tends to be playing closer is riskier. But the important part that I'm trying to like really say is that generally you don't even need to play these close spots out with Peach because she doesn't actually have that reel of counterplay to you running away, right?
Right.
No, and a big thing in the matchup that makes it hard for Peach is that by Fox running away, it makes his aggressive options a lot more like potent because if Peach spends 2 minutes of the match chasing Fox around, and then not 15, every like 30 seconds, the Fox is like, well, Peach is just gonna chase me. I guess I'll just nair directly at her, and then Fox gets nair, up tilt, bear, shark, bear. 70% happen in an instant. Then it's like, oh, that's like
Right. I
why.
see what you're
Yeah,
saying because as soon as you're chasing, you're holding the peach is holding it right
yeah, yeah,
because they have to hold in to dash forward. That's
yeah,
an interesting dynamic. Okay, that's good to
yeah.
know. I never thought about that. I was like, how do Fox players ever get juicy openings? And
It's
that's
because
so
the
that's
Peach is trying to hit them, right? That's how Fox gets his hits, is when the Peach gets to the point where she is trying. Peach gets hit trying to hit Fox because her options like fair are slow. Float cancel aerials need setup. Grounded options not the greatest. Dash attacks honestly, maybe not the best option. It's like given all these things, when Peach tries to be aggressive or force a think on Fox, that is when Fox gets to strike because of her speed slash priority, right?
And so then furthermore, you're not thinking about fighting Peach as you're never with punishing Peach, except for that one fair situation.
Yeah, it's like you have the fair position when you like read it, or then like if she dash attacks and you're like already set up or something like you can bait out dash attacks, or if she does like
Yeah, my
something.
big
Yeah.
punish, I just look for dash attack and up smash at a shield at kill percent. Or I mean, if I were a tippy top Fox player, I would do the wave shine up tilt up air out of shield every time. But we're human. We're
Yeah,
working on it. I've seen you do it, bro. You can't tell me you don't do that.
yeah. But I mean, I think after that, honestly, those are like my super core thoughts on the
Super cool.
matchup, right? And I think if we watch maybe you play it or even me play it or any Fox play it, we'll see more specific insight on the spots and how you know people navigate them. But that's like those are the core ideals, and I think as long as you watch any top Fox that plays the matchup intentionally slash is at least relatively experienced in it, like your Luckies, your Leffins, your Silent Wolves, your
Yeah,
your Mangoes, your all those Foxes that are very experienced in the matchup. You'll see all these like consistent. There's a consistent, right? There's always something
Is
that will like.
is that why peaches are starting to gravitate towards the like slow approach you like insta I don't know
I mean, I think Armada generally tended to play that way. I think it's just the nature of nowadays. There are more Foxes that are
run away.
have they run away, but they have a lot more Foxes nowadays have a worse understanding or maybe less intentional understanding of like risk reward, and I think they kind of in a lot of spots quote unquote overstay their welcome slash like play spots out in like a relatively risky way without realizing it, and so Peaches kind of lean into that and try and like get their free hits. Which is why I think maybe the Peach meta, quote unquote, has shifted kind of in that way. Also, not having Armada as like
No,
the
absolutely.
Peach to watch is pretty detrimental to them, to be completely honest. Because Armada I mean, is still the goat.
My hot take is that I think Peaches have been forced to like sit down and like talk amongst each other to be like, okay, well now that we don't have Armada, what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean they probably
jump
have.
is actually secretly huge for Peach. Like
Yeah.
like yeah, I don't know. There's just you can being able to do shit quickly and consistently changes a lot of different routes.
Yeah, I mean claw moment, but
claw, but like I'm a claw Chad for now. For now. Until I lose sets to
until the cheaters.
Until the cheaters. Yeah. So is there anything? I guess. So how? I guess let's talk. I guess we could use this time to talk mental. How do you keep yourself disciplined?
I mean,
like it's not even for the Peach matchup. Like what? It comes with familiarity and like time and intentional practice.
Yeah.
But like, where do I start practicing that discipline?
So I guess obviously you already mentioned it, but the core ideal is being practiced, understanding things well is like the core ideal. But what makes me like how I am able to continue to do the thing that I know how to do and have practiced or whatever is that I always function under the philosophy, I guess, of that if I'm going to like, why would I make any decision if I did not believe that it would work, right? And then given that, it's like, why would like all the decisions that I make are simply just a product of my practice. And given that I know that I have practiced and put in effort, why should I not just believe in them, right? And so it's like, I just do the thing that I know I've practiced, and that's like, I found that very easy to, function under that, like,
that's such a fucking good take. Oh my God. And this game is the ultimate test of the game never changes, you change, and if you don't change, you'll just keep losing. This game is actually so, and that's why people are all down bad about themselves after they lose, because they're like, man, I'm so shit, because they know it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a failure of your efforts. If not always, but a good amount of the time when you lose, right? It's like it is like you did something wrong, or maybe you didn't perceive something correctly. You didn't see this set of options the correct way, et cetera, right? So it's always like a failure of your understanding.
Like a very specific context where it's not actually a failure of yourself and you did everything right and the other person just is also a top player. Like
Yeah.
I've heard so many instances of like people talking about like, oh yeah, I played against HBox. I didn't do anything wrong. I got all of my openings and I still barely lost. And it's like, well, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, that could, you still losing in a theoretical sense does mean that there are things that you could have done better,
Of
obviously.
course,
Now,
of course.
at the theoretical peak, kind of ends up just being RNG because people make
Yeah.
reads or whatever. But like, as it currently stands, it's still even when you lose a set where you feel like you did most things well, there are options you're not doing that within these given
Oh yeah.
whatevers, and
I'm
there's like all
absolutely
the
not saying I'm at that level.
yeah,
I'm saying that's a very rare context for maybe 10, 20, 30 people.
yeah,
that and even then of course there's stuff to improve on, tech to develop, things to innovate, things to work on, etc. Okay, this was a great talk. I really needed this talk because I was just feeling clueless. Because like you kind of led me on to some ideas that like I kind of had in my head. But the important thing about a lesson for me is that you have a very specific phrasing or framing of an idea, and if I don't have that in my head, then it's just gonna be a gap. Like for a
Mhm.
long time, I mean, so like the low level fox also understand down smash bad. Me no be in front of down smash, me win, me run away. But
Yeah.
like like that only takes you so far. I wasn't really looking to like run under or over properly. And I also definitely had never thought about like whiff punishing fair. The
Mhm.
other thing is that so can you explain to me when double jump cancel aerial pressure is fake? Is it the second double jump cancel or so
Oh, do you mean float
float
cancel?
cancel? Sorry, float cancel.
So I think you can. It depends because on some float cancels you can make assumptions that they're going to do a float cancel at a certain timing, given that they're in front of your shield jumping.
Right.
But I think that you could also, um, so I
Yeah,
guess
it's
in a
just
truly
tough, right?
reactive sense, yes, the second one is generally the one that you'll punish, but it depends on so much. It really depends on so
Is it
much.
like the height they do it at, the speed, the timing they do it at,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
time, the frame they double jump cancel on?
Yeah.
Flow cancel. Sorry.
Yeah,
It's
I mean there's like a good amount of variance in it. And it's like I can't tell you
no, for
shining
sure.
at a
I would.
shield is like super consistent against Peach and all these things, but it's
You should like if shine out a shield if it like it's like so. What's the philosophy? You're looking to do it on the stuff you know is super unsafe, the dash attacks, the bad fares of the world, right?
Yeah, I think
So
it's like if so obviously there's the ground Peach's grounded options that you get it on, but there are spots where Peach is floating high above you, and if she's falling down with an aerial, that because you can see whether an arrow is fair or narrow bear if she's higher up. You can tell that she's coming down with like a non-fair aerial, and it's like, okay, this is going to like not be super positive on my shield, so you can shine the shield at whatever set timing. There are
can
some
you?
spots where, or what's
How
up?
do you determine so is there like a visual? So I guess is there a visual cue to see what's not safe on? Is it like the little like how do you can you like tell visually if something's not safe
Uh,
on shield?
yeah, it's just experience. Like, so you just need to understand what makes how do peaches get good, float cancel aerials on shields, right? Like, what makes a +0 aerial? What makes a +1, +2,
Right.
+3? What do they look like that makes them special, right? Given
Right.
these things, and it's like you have to just either learn those through experience or like sit down and practice doing them with Peach and like look at what they look
R-
like and kind of like understand that if a Peach executes, float cancel this way, she's floating really high up and she falls down with an air, it'll obviously be pretty negative. But then it's like if Peach does, is close to the ground and it looks like she does one that hits, or it looks like she does one that hits like, maybe falling, it's like, okay, well, I should respect this a little bit more because it might be plus or, whatever, right? It's all like how there's obviously setup to it, and just given how it looks beforehand and what you know of float cancel aerials, then
So
you can
this is
kind
like
of function
micro
on that.
stuff that I need to lab and understand. If
Yeah, yeah.
like,
I don't think
but
you
you
need to
can,
have a super deep understanding. You just need to know like generally what things look like.
yeah, or which ones they're trying to go for, because there's usually like two or three, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not. If I yeah, I get two or three is different from like understand. Yeah, I guess yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Hmm. Uh, yeah, I think you've given me a really good rundown.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, if you don't
Um,
have any questions, you could watch, like, I don't know, me play against Peach or something, right? And
yeah,
then,
dude, I would love to watch that.
yeah.
Honestly, I just want to see. Yeah, I just want to hear you talk me through it. Oh, wave shine up tilt. When you do wave shine up tilt, you're looking for running shine, and then you do the shine. Once you know the shine is like in, once you have your shine inside of them, that's when you do the up tilt, right? You're looking for a very specific spacing, while like you're literally face to face with them, right?
Uh,
I'm just making sure.
you could just, I mean, you could just do it whenever, right? As long as you're, like, close enough. That's
You have
all
to
that
be
matters.
close. That matters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as long as you can just know how far up tilt hits right to round up tilt. And as long as you're close enough to hit it, you can obviously adjust your wave dash length and things like having running momentum changes it. But yeah, you can just wave shine turn like turn round up tilt
You
Peach.
can you can but like there are two set right. You can do wave shine no up no turnaround and you're just in front of them. But there's
But then you
also
have to
wave.
walk, right? If you want to
Right,
not,
I
yeah.
see. Okay, and they can punish you while you're walking. Is
No,
that no?
no,
You
no.
just have to. Okay, I see.
Yeah, yeah. We
Okay,
could like
interesting.
talk it. We'll probably see one in whatever
Yeah,
match.
because I
Um,
see wave shine up tilt and I'm like, I was practicing it and it's only on certain DI, right?
it's no, it's always other
Eh,
than two smash nine puts away, you could always get it. I think.
Okay,
Because you could also walk and then turn around up tilt, right? You could still get some distance out of the wave shine.
for sure. Can you point that out in like a VOD?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
when you walk versus when you don't. Yeah, because that's something that I'm a little lost towards. Otherwise, I feel like my punish game on Peach.
yeah. Alright. Okay. Can you see my Slippy?
Yes, I
All
can.
right. Let me just pull up Battlefield. Cool. Normal
Wonderful.
match. Oh,
Right away, first thing the Peach does, pull a turnip. You know, you recognize it.
yeah.
You're like, I'm gonna go down, but I see the turnip, so I'm gonna honor the spacing of the throw.
Yep. This is the thing where I go to the side platform. It's like whatever. Peach isn't fast enough to stop me from getting here, so I'm like, I will just simply full hop, and then I see that she's jumping when I'm full hopping. And I'm like, I guess I'll try and fall through and hit
Oh,
her. And then it's like, okay, well, I didn't hit her. Maybe I'm in lag next to Peach. Could have been better if she dashed to the right. And so what I do is I just give up the space. And since I know that Peach can't actually cover, from the ground, me going all the way into the corner instantly, if we look. It's like me, Peach, if she dash tacked from there, she wouldn't get me. And so at this point, me doing like full dash to the corner, full hop is essentially this unhittable option directly. Now, she could have like floated here and set up a
but
spacing.
that's a hard commitment.
Yeah. She can't directly hit me given all these
Gotcha.
things.
So the key thing I'm seeing now is you look for turnip pulls and float height and any sort of jump. And as soon as you see a jump, you're looking for a float height, and then you can deduce which aerials like are could potentially come out. No,
Generally I agree, but given specifically what we've seen, I think personally all we've seen is that I
like
play
you also
around Peach's vertical and horizontal threat ranges, right? Because I
right.
think this match start interaction is generally pretty whatever.
Yeah,
I
pretty.
like I laser whatever, and then I probably mess up a double laser and end up on the side platform. It's like okay, but then it's like given this, I know her threat ranges from this spot, and then as I'm full hopping, I also see that she's jumping, and it's like okay, well if she's jumping, she is in like a dedicated action, right? And so I'm like, I guess I will just full hop, and then this after landing with the bear, that's pretty questionable, maybe not the best. I play this spot up pretty well where
So like going to the platforms is a good way to check what habitual, what flight, what like height any given Peach is looking to, or like you can take note. Oh well, I went to the platform and the Peach decided I wanted to float here. Maybe I'm gonna look out for this particular height in the next interaction. If it like when if the Peach does get the chance to outplay me, which they will. We're human. I mean, unless anyway, my point is, you're looking for a specific height. You can use it to like stall and like look for habits, right?
I mean, I think you just use it to be evasive, right? You
Okay,
use it to get
just
to the
literally,
spot you want to be at, right?
I
It's
need
like,
to stop overthinking it and just use it as an evasive
yeah,
tool.
because it's like
Okay,
I don't want to be in the corner against
right.
Peach in the center, and so I full hop. And then it's like I don't want to be in the corner against the Peach, and so I go
So
to
I go.
platform. Right?
Gotcha. You know your punt your whip your out of shield game is cracked. That's wave dash out of shield, not wave shine, right? You do wave dash
Yeah.
shine.
Well, this
Yeah.
was on a down smash, right?
Yeah.
So
You can just always wave dash instead. You don't have to wave. I mean, you shouldn't wave shine down.
yeah, down smash. You see how this far away and a maximal
Right.
shine wouldn't hit, so I have to wave dash.
Right. So but it's important to recognize when you need to do wave shine and when you can do wave dash, because wave dash is significantly easier execution. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and then you do platform. I'm gonna do more platform dash. That's
Yeah.
something. Okay, there it was. There's the turnaround up tilt,
Yeah.
and you get an up air.
So we look at these upcoming spots. This is whatever. I go to center stage, which is totally fine. I dash forward here, where it's like, okay, Peach is probably going to take her time getting out of the corner, and if she does like dash back in the center stage, it loses everything else. And so it's like, this is like a aggressive option I could pick that still leaves me pretty safe, because you see how I dash back, and then I dash back, wave dash down, where it's like Peach cannot, like, this is the edge of her, like, unreactable threat range, right? You see how if she were to keep dashing, dash attack would probably stop here, right?
Yeah, and yeah, I see what you're saying. So you're just like at this point you're playing I'm gonna play just outside the dash attack range for a higher reward.
Yeah. And so we see here what I do immediately after is I wave dash back and realize she's jumping, and as I'm wave dashing, I'm like, oh, she's jumping. I'm just gonna up tilt. And then a good thing that I do is during my up tilt, I hold down. And so what happens is I react to the fact that I get nared, and then I just get the wave shiner, right?
Oh my god, that's broken.
Now, this isn't awesome. Like super applicable, but I did this because of how close we were initially. And it was like, because I know that we're this close initially, if she jumps, I will either get to up tilt her out of the air and then because it's like she can't fair, right? She doesn't have enough time to fair.
Right. She's not high enough, and yeah. Okay.
And so it's like, given that I know she doesn't have time to fair in this spot, I was like, okay, I will, wave dash back up tilt, and it'll generally be fine, right? And so then
it's akin to playing around like the low level Marth run up smash by just reacting with the shield and shield grabbing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making, so that's a good analogy. I'm just trying to understand. Like these are.
I think it's less applicable. Like, I don't think this is more of a micro position. Like, this isn't a spot that comes up against Peach all that often. It's just that I'm trying to lay out the framework, because this could see this is, I've talked about not doing wave dash back up tilts, right? I think I don't do it. I don't think it's that good. But in this spot specifically, because I know how
it's
Peach's
an option select.
Yeah, since I know that Peach's current options do not actually have good counterplay to me doing this wave dash back up tilt, because of how slow it is to get up, how long fair it takes to come out, etc., etc. I know that the only things she could hit me with are nair, which is CCable, and down air, which is
So the option select is you're up tilting, and if she hits you, you're CC shining.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so good. Oh my. Okay,
but it's super specific, and this isn't
specific, but it's cool. I mean, it's a testament to your recognition of micro situations. Mm-hmm. So this is the first real meaningful interaction game, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And there's that, and then of course I do wave shine turn on up tilt. This one we see, since Peach is so close to me, I don't have to actually walk forward, so I get to just turn around up tilt.
That's so good. I need to practice both walk forward and turn. Is that something that I should save state and have multiple slots for, and just be like practice alternating?
I mean, you just have to pay attention to practice reacting to the spacing Peach is at after your shine, right?
Generally, the lesson is the person isn't looking in the right place, right?
Yeah, I mean, you just have to look at where the Peach is and decide off of that, right?
So true, King.
Okay, let's see. Let's look at this. So here, I go to the edge of the platform, just outspace, and I know that she's going to land. So I pressure her. I do something tricky, which is instead of bearing, I do shine bear. And then it's
you shine fade back air so that you can't get shield grabbed.
Yeah. And then we see that immediately after, I do this thing where I dash forward very slightly and wave dash down, because it's like I know I'm at the like if she does wave dash down dash attack, and if she does short hop flow aerial on a shield like this, I will be at the edge of both. I'm at the exact edge of it, right? And then I'm like, okay,
dash.
Yeah, and so this spot's slightly different, because when I see this, I'm not like, I feel like I didn't get to see the information I wanted to see fast enough, so I kind of decide to dash back and then play the situation more safely, because I wasn't super sure, right? Which is also part of it. But at the end of the day, it's like, again, this big grip on like Peach's threat range, as I'm playing very, very, very precisely around it, right?
Right. It's like you as soon as you know that like this float as soon as they're at that float height, you know that like you can microspace and like pretty reliably like I don't know, it depends on how good the peach is, right? And if they know
Oh,
you
I
can
think.
pretty
Oh
hmm,
no, no, no,
go.
you can go. You can
No, no, never mind. I guess never. I'm just gonna shut up and take
go.
soak in what you have to say. I'm really bad at this. I don't know if you can tell.
Well, in
Okay.
this spot specifically, I'm not like necessarily reacting to the float height, right? Like this is like I could not have seen that she's floating at this height for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, right? Like I could not have seen it
Right.
until literally now, right? And so it's like it's not that I'm talking about like I'm reacting to the float height, but it's that if we're going to look at it in terms of how long it takes Peach to do any given decision, right? It
Right.
takes Peach,
It takes peach.
like it in this specific spot. If Peach wants to hit this spot, it takes her however much time to hit that spot, and I'm like aware of how much time it takes and like trying to play around it actively. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it takes peach a certain amount of time to cover any given threat range.
Well, you have to be aware of it, right? You have to be aware of how long, because like there's sometimes where it's like it takes Peach a really long time to get there. Sometimes it doesn't take Peach that long, and then you have to like understand that different spacings, how long it actually takes her to like actively be able to set up something, and if she even can, right?
Spacings and timings of setups.
Yeah.
And whether or not they're possible.
Yeah, and I think it'll be pretty clear when it's not possible or whatever. But that's like the core ideal is that Peach, since she is slow and has the weakness of time, of taking time, you
Right.
can tell how long you have to judge how long it generally takes her to do to set up each given spot and then actively play around it.
So it takes peach a certain amount of time sorry, given any threat range, it takes peach a certain amount of time to do something, and given that, you have to understand the different spacings and timings and whether or not those options are actually possible.
Yeah, and like what is applicable given the time, like what takes her that amount of time, right? Like I know that here, that in this spot at this range from Peach, for her to actually hit where I am, it takes her however much time to do this float nair on a shield, or it takes her however much time to do wave dash down dash attack, right? Or like
Yeah,
double jump cancel dash attack on the shield, or whatever, right? Like I know how much time it takes her to do these things, and that is how I'm like actively choosing to place myself or like make a decision afterward, right?
yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, that makes a lot of. It's just
Yeah.
Peach is not a very straight. Most other characters, this concept is more straightforward, but for Peach, you're looking for something that isn't necessarily that straightforward unless it's pointed out to you.
Yeah, I think it's just like with other characters, because they're generally fast enough to hold their own, you don't have to think about how their speed affects the way they play situations. It's just like, I know they can hit here and I know they can hit there and I'm going to play around it. But with Peach, it's
Right.
like, you, because this is a strength you have in the matchup, it is important to like really try hard to take advantage of the fact that it takes her so much time to do certain things. Because like Fox, I mean, he does a nair, you can't even see that he did the nair by the time he lands, right? Like he's that fast.
Right.
But Peach doesn't have
Yeah.
those kind of options when at various spacings. Like she doesn't have a Fox nair that she could do out of shield that hits that spot. Or she doesn't have a wave dash forward shine that hits that spot because wave dash forward shine's unreactable. It's from 13 or 14, right? And so it's like all these things that you cannot react to other characters might have and that you just inherently play around. But Peach, it's a
Right.
very delicate balance of like understand, like she can't do anything here and you have to like play around it. That is where you get your strengths from, right?
Right. Okay, so like yeah, you have to abuse the speed factor. Otherwise, you're not really playing the winning matchup.
Yeah, yeah. And we could keep watching.
Yeah. See,
This
like
is,
you're so comfortable with like just being like, okay, I'm in your space. Now I'm going away, and you can't actually threaten me.
yeah, and it's like
And
right
now
here.
I'm back in your space, right?
Yeah, and if we watch this, if you look at this, I do this thing, switch on Peach. I see him do this wave dash away, and I immediately take the space, right? And I'm like, okay,
Right.
I'm in the spot I want to be in. And then I see him jump, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm gonna respect it, right? And give him some space and try and play safe around it, right? And just kind of like hold it.
One note is that I need to like remember that if I'm better, I like laser is only necessary if I need to if they don't really want to approach me, which I mean they need to, right?
Yeah, yeah. You make lasers.
So when
to,
do
you do lasers, to
lasers
make
are just
closer.
like a if you're not doing anything, do something.
Yeah, I
Right?
mean, if you're just full screen, you have no reason not to laser, right? But laser
Right.
until the point where Peach can actually interact with you.
Yeah,
You don't want to laser and let her get a free interaction.
if you're lasering and yeah, it's just like with it's especially like Marth is another where it's kind of important if Marth doesn't want to do anything. Like, is it like in that sense where like as soon as you see, oh, the Marth is dashing at me, now I have to prepare to react to whatever incoming option the Marth wants to do?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Oh,
it's
but
pretty
like,
similar, but Peach is slower than
Peach is
Marth,
so much
so
slower. Right, 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 right.
yeah,
So doing that is a lot more lenient, but still respect the threat range.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We could see it. This is good here. Good awareness of threat range. There, I use top platform to reposition and get the spot I want. And so we see how
Wait
here
for
I'm like
ability.
avoiding Peach. And I'm like, oh, I'm on top platform. I see that she's fairing. I'm dash dancing. I see that she does this jump, and I'm like, okay, since I know she's doing this jump, I can get down on this side safely because she does not have the time to actually
Wow.
cover the spot that I ended up on. Right. So if we
So
look,
jump is like an actual like in for you to do something.
yeah,
As soon
she's
as you
committing
see,
to something,
okay.
right?
No other character has that where it's like, oh, they're jumping. I can do. I mean, you
I
have to
mean, I
like,
think Sheik, Marth,
yeah,
Falco
the
are
the
all like
bad
that,
short
right?
hops, the characters with like mid short hops, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Fox is the only character really where them
Yeah.
jumping isn't like enough information for you to make a decision. Like every other
Right.
character, it's like you see them jump. It's a thing. I get to check
But
spacing, make a decision, whatever, right?
it's exacerbated with Peach.
Yeah, because Peach,
Okay.
this is like her main
That
commitment,
makes
right?
so much sense. That's something that I was just never even react looking to. And even furthermore, I could listen for the sound key. The double Peach's double jump has a unique
Yeah,
like
it
and
has like the
like
thing, the
and like even if they miss like a double jump, I can be like, oh, they want to jump here, and I should be okay. All right,
yeah, and I mean, we see how what I'm doing this all in reaction. Like I
right.
am running off here literally because I saw the Peach jump, and it's like I know that she cannot stop me from landing in this spot. And then here, I mean, I just shield drop Bear because it's like I'm reading him being aggressive out of that spot. Um, it's pretty interesting. Again, using top platform in the exact same way. I'm on side platform. She can't really touch me. And so I end up going up. And then it's like, I know that she's in the air. So I'm like, okay, she's in the air. I can make a decision. And so I shield drop. I see her still there. And then I like play that position however, right?
Right.
Oh, nice, get red. I don't remember that yet. That's
You
funny.
love to see it. Go to the and then
Oh,
yeah,
he
this is
read me
of course
there.
to stall. You either light shield on the platform, go to the top platform, or go to the.
Yeah. No, it was a pretty bad drill. I
But
think staying engaged there after the shine was pretty bad too, just because like if
you
you look
whiffed.
at
It's
it,
time for defense, right? That was time for defense.
yeah, it's just like
Technically,
I
but
get to
it's
set up a
fine.
spot, but instead what I did was I tried to like play the position out directly after the shine, where if I like hit the shine, waveland on the platform, and then was like, what I should have realized once I did this kind of waveland or whatever, it's like, oh, I actually don't have time to like be aggressive or like make a decision, so I try and I get hit trying to do whatever.
Right.
This is good awareness of Peach's threat range. It's like Peach
You
is like I saw her do this, full hop rising up her in a center state, like drift back, and I was like, oh, I'm fine. So I wave dash back, and then it's like she cannot. There is nothing Peach can do. Literally
You can
nothing.
stand still and Peach cannot hit you.
Yes, there is
Right.
literally nothing. There is no button she can press. And if you look at the button she presses, you
That's a
see
very
how.
cact. That's I said it before, but that's a very cactuar plan.
Yeah, and we see
Where
how.
you just like stand still outside of the threat range,
Yeah.
knowing that you're winning. You're in a spot in neutral where I mean, I guess you're technically in slight disadvantage, but not really.
No,
Right?
this isn't really even. This is like fine. This isn't disadvantage really. So it's like you see this, and it's like I literally space perfectly around the dash tech, right? And it's like there are just spots like I am very good at playing around the spots where Peach can and cannot hit me.
Right.
Oh, I tried to read him jumping. Nice.
And that wait was that drill? So he was floating and right? He was floating there.
Well, he jumped. Yeah, he jumped into the drill. So what
Oh,
happened was
interesting.
I was like, I'm gonna read the Peach dashing forward, and then I saw that he, jumped, and so I was like, okay, well, I have to play the situation differently. So I full hopped after to avoid like the, maybe the dash tag grab or down smash, and then I react to the down smash and just
Dude,
falling
you
up or on
just
top of
full
it.
hop falling up. That's so
Yeah.
fucking good.
And if
'Cause
he
that
doesn't,
range
or what's
Because
up?
if you were a little bit higher, he would have been able to punish you. Like the top peaches punish the full. That's like the losing option.
Well,
Right?
no. Well, it's like this. It's just a mix-up, right? Because like, if
Oh.
I do this drill, Peaches can either start dash dancing and just hold it, right? Just play as if like. So the way it is like after doing this drill, I can either decide to just go for like a dash back grab or like an up tilt or something, like trying to tag,
Right.
or I could play evasive by either dashing or full hopping, right? And so then the Peaches could to either read me trying to hit them directly after, do dash or do down
Right.
smash, dash attack, grab, and then if I don't and I full hop, then they would be dash dancing, and then they have an option. But the thing is, what makes this position good for Fox is that if I decide to dash away or if I decide to full hop, I can actually confirm if Peach is doing like a down smash or a grab or a
Something
dash attack that I can
workable.
punish, right? And so then
Yeah.
I could have just decided to double jump here instead of up airing.
Reset to neutral, sorta, and then but you decide to continue the hit.
Yeah, I mean, I get the hit because I have a
Right.
confirmed whiff punish, right?
Right.
This is
Right.
fully reactable. There's no like, right?
So I just need to practice reacting to these things.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to like, it's a spot where I mean, it's any other full hop, right? You
Yeah.
full hop, and if you check if they do something. If they're doing something, you get to hit them, and if they're not doing something, you double jump away and play evasive, right?
But don't just full hop. I mean, full hop again is fine, but don't do it without like having. There should be a productive outcome.
Well, there's
Right?
just a plan, right? You full hop and
Yeah.
look, and you do
Right.
things out of the full. It's not like super
God,
complicated, right?
that's so good. I mean, it's not complicated, but every we talk about how good full hop is. It's just always another layer to it, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess we're about getting up on
Out of
time, so let's
Yeah,
speed through this.
sounds good.
Um, Space Rudder, but went too far, so ended up going poorly. Got by double jump. Hard to reach edgeguard that. Side B from ledge is also very hard to reach the edgeguard.
That was so cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a side B cheese moment for sure.
No, but the fair up smash confirm.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was so good. I'm
Yeah,
actually curious.
You do
This- Yeah.
the double up tilt when you know she's gonna land, right? That's the only
Yeah.
time it's really good. It's like how you look for count the puffs jumps, wait for them to land. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, this is pretty interesting too. Just to point it out, you see how when I'm like full screen from Peach, I do the laser and then I realize, oh wait, she could like be moving into my range, so I move it and then using full hop as you use it. If she's not doing something that I want to punish, I get to just double jump away and she can't stop me, right?
So good, dude.
That bear was pretty bad, but it's whatever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're so good at those. Oh wait, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was 1% off.
One more.
Yeah.
Dude, I need to practice those, but I'm gonna practice. I want to commit the game plan first.
Yeah, and we see if we look at how I play these other like whatever spots afterward, it's like okay, I try and be aggressive against Peach. It's fine risk reward because she's at 98,
Yeah.
I'm at 0, like whatever. And then I make the space, and I know that Peach, she jumps here. I can't like get hit, so I keep dash dancing, right? And
Right.
then when I see that she lands and dashes, I'm like, oh, I'll try and attack forward just to like stop the space. Right. And again, all these spots after, pretty good awareness of Peach's threat range, right? It's like, how's she going to catch me, right? She can't catch me, so I put myself exactly where she could do something in crouch, and it's like, oh, she can't stop me, right? And then move back, right? All these...
With punish. Yep.
Right.
Got
And
it.
then-
Okay, that makes so much sense.
And so
this
there's
has been such an amazing crash course.
Nice,
You
yeah.
just said, okay, here's how you lose. Here's how you win. Do more of these. Do less of that.
Yeah.
Stop doing that. And now I'm like, I'm going to go practice all of this.
And yeah, I mean, if you watch any Top Fox, literally any
Yeah,
Top
it's
Fox
the
with
same.
experience against Peach,
It's the
your
same.
Luckies, your Leffins, your Fictions, your Silent Wolves, your Direct Foxes, whatever, all those Foxes that have experience against Peach, you will see a lot of consistency around how they play around Peach. And so, if you try and see those things, then internalize them, then use them in your own play, it'll, end up being a lot clearer.
Dope. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably up to once I start my. I'm looking for a job now. Once I start a job, I'm gonna up these to I think at least two a month because they're unbelievably helpful. And do you want to play sometime? I just
Maybe. I actually don't play Melee
You don't
all that
play Melee.
often nowadays.
that you and Sammy.
I feel like I've passed my competitor phase, so now I'm just like kind of casually playing on maybe unranked with my, Pikachu or whatever, just kind of like messing
Hey,
around.
listen, no. I hear you've got a nasty Pikachu, but also I play with Ralph, so we can money match. You want to take my money or lose some?
I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. All right, yeah, no, for sure. I'll see you probably later in the month.
Mhm.
Um, after I just wanna, I'm gonna like do the solo practice thing and get ridiculously good by myself, and then hopefully like see the fruits of my labor pay off.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I've been solo practicing more, watching more VODs, and I'm feeling better about what I need to do, which is like such a good method of
Yeah,
teaching.
that's good. I'm glad you feel that
All
way.
right, man. I'll
Cool.
talk to
Cool.
you later, man.
Yeah.
We'll plan out. Plan out another VOD or another
Mhm.
review some other later in the month. But take it easy, man.
Yeah. You too.
Hope you have a good night.
You too. I'll talk to you later.
Peace, man.